is Teripper, and today we are playing Look Into Your Soul. No, that's not it. Today we're playing some Chivalry Medieval... Chivalry Medieval Dupe Fair. His head was removed. I'm so sorry. We're playing Chivalry Medieval Warfare, and today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to duel properly in accordance with this week's video a day thing, which is not entirely true, but go figure. I'm going to be doing this thing, little tactics thing here. And I realized that I had made tactics videos for, I think, every other game mode in the game. Last Team Standing, TO, Free-for-All. And then I wrote it down in my to-do list. And I just never got around to making the video. Come hither. Gotcha. So, preface this. If you have any questions for the 10,000 subscriber Q&A that's going to be happening next week, lay them down in the comments below. There's a place for you. I will read all of the comments. Don't you worry. And without further ado, this is how to duel. So, the first step to how to duel is to use Man-at-Arms Norse. No, I'm just kidding. So basically, what you'll want to do, the first thing you want to do in dueling, is use the class and weapon you feel most comfortable with. And I'm not saying use the best class and weapon, I'm saying use the class and weapon you feel most comfortable with. Now, to preface that preface, I would say that you should probably prioritize getting comfortable with certain weapons. For example, the longsword or the messer for the knight, the Norse sword for the Norse sword or the broadsword for the man-at-arms, as those are just very good competitive level weapons. And with the Vanguard, a lot of weapons are pretty competitive, but you get the idea. Get comfortable with those weapons before getting into duels would be what I suggest. But you can also just get into duels, have some fun. That's what I do most of the time. But back to the original point, you'll want to play a class and weapon that you are comfortable with, because duels can get very, very heated. You will be very deep in the heat of battle. You need to remember as many tactics as you can, as many maneuvers and what have you, throughout the fight, so you can best your opponent. As you can see here, I'm using all manner of accelerated strikes. I'm using strafing, excuse me. I'm strafing my opponents quite a bit. I'm doing whirlwinds, reverses, and this is all happening seamlessly. To be able to duel at a very proficient level, I would say you need to be able to chain all of these things. You saw that was a very lightning fast block that I could not repeat the second time, sadly. Ugh, and that right there, footwork, all about that footwork. This basically, dueling should take everything you've learned in the game and meld it all together. Now, competitive level team objective will do that to a higher extent, but dueling is a good way of getting into that first and foremost. So, to start right off, you need to be aware of what setup your opponent is using, but that shouldn't make you immediately reconsider what setup you're using. And by setup, I mean class and weapon choice. As you see, this knight, he started with a longsword and a shield, but he switched that quite quickly to a Norse sword, because, and I'll tell you, a Norse sword is generally going to treat you a lot better when you're fighting something like a man-at-arms. You're just going to have a much better response to the quickness and the jabby play style of it. And where'd he go? He ran away. Oh, there he is. All right, he has pulled out a dagger, my favorite weapon. So, once again, I would not want to fight a dagger with a Norse. It's just not smart. Here, I'll show you. Except for the fact that he doesn't seem to know the Norse's range. Okay. Someone who was very adept with the dagger. No offense, I'm playing Rust. I'm playing Rust is actually a pretty darn good player. I'm 4-0 already. How'd that happen? I'm playing Rust is actually a good player. You got to be aware of your opponent's weapons capabilities. Again, I make dueling seem like this elite game mode, and it kind of is. You're going to find a lot of very high-ranked players in duel servers, especially if you're playing in a classic duel server. I'm not going to do that here, because I recommend classic duel servers for those of you who think you've gotten all you can from these kinds of duel servers, the public ones. So, back to the point I was making earlier, you'll want to look at your opponent's loadout and adjust accordingly. Obviously, I see this guy's using a greatsword. I'm going to stick with the man-at-arms. Man-at-arms is a great counter to something like a greatsword. Slow, long-ranged weapon. As long as I can face-hug him, I'm good to go. However, let's say I'm pulling out a knight with a longsword. Longsword's a very well-rounded weapon. It can usually take on just about any setup your opponent can pull out of his hat. But let's see what we are up against. Okay, look at this. Another longsword. Perfect. The longsword is the longsword's best counter. Or should I say the best equal, perhaps. Again, you see me chaining all these different things together. If you guys have watched me duel before, this just seems rote. And you'll probably think it's pretty rote. But at the end of the day, dueling is going to be the culmination of everything you've learned in Chivalry. So, after you've practiced all of your... I wasn't trying to throw him off by bowing there. After you've practiced all of your stuff, you should be able to combine it all effortlessly. That is how a great duelist plays. So he took the element of initiative, and he thought that he had it, and he tried to play with it, but in the end he lost it, because I took advantage of his hubris, so to speak. I got a tiny bit of distance between us, and I stabbed him. He died. I needed to duel some of the people challenging me. And really, dueling is, in its most basic form, as I said, just that. Ooh, we have a Sword of War. I may be tempted to pull out my my Norse sword here, because while a longsword is a decent counter for a Sword of War, if you're a player like me who likes to just outspeed things, then you'll probably want to pull out a faster weapon. For example, if I pull out my Norse now, put away my shield, I'll have a lot better luck because I'm a lot more used to this Norse. Especially fighting against quick weapons such as his. Oh, shit. I need to get away. I'm out of stam. Another thing. You have to be very aware of your health and stamina pools. In Team Objective, it's easy. You're going to respawn. In duels, you get 2 chances to beat a guy. And there you go. I was not keeping well awareness of my stamina. If he had blocked that last strike, I may have lost the duel. I was getting a bit cocky there. You got to be very careful of that. Don't let your emotions get in the way of the fight. Don't get tilted, and also don't get cocky, because either way, you can end up underperforming. Let's go, bro. Again, the Sword of War, I'm relatively certain I can take him on with a longsword. I've got the range advantage. Ever so slightly, I've also got the damage advantage. And I can kind of throw him off with my long-ranged twisty turnsies. And also my jump thingies. Good kick. Very good use of a kick. I told you guys on Monday that I'd talk to you guys about kicks in duels. And I'm going to do just that, actually. Let's go Vanguard. Brandy stock of Vanguard. I'm going to show you guys a class that cannot live without kicks. Which is the Vanguard. The Vanguard can live without kicks. That's untrue. But the Vanguard excels when you utilize kicks properly. So let me try that right here. Dueling kicks and team objective kicks are very similar in the fact that if someone's using a shield, you're going to want to heavy kick them. If they look like they're about to die, you're going to want to heavy kick them, or light kick them, depending on how low you think their health is. But in duels, you have to be very, very intelligent with them. You have to use them sparingly, because your stamina is a lot more valuable in duels. This would be a case where I'd want to kick him if he came close to me. Try to get some distance between me and him. Oh, the brandy stock's range, so delicious. You saw that kick there. He thought, at least I think he was thinking that after I kicked him, he could come in for a stab, but he didn't have the range. And as he was stabbing, I went for the overhead, which with this weapon is more of an underhand. I went in for the overhead with the brandy, and I ended up killing him because the brandy range is just ridiculous. And kicking is fantastic for that, as I said in my kicking video. Ooh, there, I made a big mistake kicking. I took far too long to kick. I made him feel like he had the initiative. And just then I kind of wasted some stamina. Oh, now he's taking advantage of the distance between us. Ooh, good fight. Ooh, very good fight. I need to fight William the Lion. Alright. So, yeah, what else do I have to tell you? So, you'll want to be adaptable. As you can see, he's using a pole hammer. I'm using a brandy stock Vanguard. I would not change my class or my weapon at this point. If he were a man-at-arms, I would probably go short sword, which is my current secondary. My Vanguard secondaries are generally very quick weapons, simply because I'm very used to using the slower weapons with the Vanguard, the more longer ranged ones. And had he been using something, had I been fighting a man-at-arms, I may switch to that, depending on the man-at-arms playstyle. Again, dueling makes you take a lot of different things into consideration when you're fighting someone. You have to be aware of their playstyle. They just switched to my weapon. What's the proper course of action here? Be consistent. This is probably one of the biggest things I can tell you, and this will go a long way when you're fighting the urge after getting slightly tilted or slightly cocky. You need to be consistent. If you've been doing pretty good, but you're starting to kind of get a little bit flaky with your current class and weapon, don't give up immediately. Maybe switch to a different weapon, but be careful about switching to a different class and weapon entirely. Okay, we'll get to see this here. Oh Jesus. What the f... I keep forgetting, the Brandy Stock can one-shot men-at-arms. That's one case where I didn't need to switch weapons. Oh, geez. Alright, let's get back in the fray here. Okay. Let's see if I can one-shot him again. Okay, no, he's learned from his mistakes. Oh, shoot. This is a case I'd probably kick him. Alright, yeah. So he had the HP. I'm going to do something really douchey, and I'm going to take him to the side up here and look for it. Oh, no, no! He is doing the smart thing and backtracking. Something I probably should have mentioned. When in doubt, don't be afraid to backtrack. Oh, and he is actually taking the initiative in all cases. Very good fight there, Hobbs. I was getting pretty cocky. I'll tell you right now, I was getting very cocky. I was waiting at the bridge, like, hey, I'm going to get a kick on him. But he played a lot more intelligently than I expected. Don't take your opponent for granted. Your opponent may not seem like a good player at the time, but as you saw just there, he completely surprised me. He took me for a loop. He completely messed me up. And I'm considering switching to my short sword. But again, consistency. Consistency trumps theoretical... Oh, shit. Theoretical potential. Whew! This guy is very, very quick. I need to keep a distance. And I need to keep a distance, get my health back. Never be afraid to just backtrack. It's going to be very annoying for your opponent, and I know it's very annoying for you generally, but never be afraid to just backtrack. Ooh, because it can lead to some very profitable... Oh! Very profitable moments. But again... I think I should have switched class and weapon there. A knight, I think, would have been a lot more effective in that fight. And I ended up losing as a result of that. Don't be afraid to do that. I say be consistent. And you should be consistent. Again, I think I was probably in the right sticking to my Brandy Stock. But I probably, after the first time I lost against him, it would have been a good idea to change. Ah, shit. And there, once again, I'm kind of getting a tiny bit tilted. You just got to be very careful about that sort of thing. I'm going to switch to Greatsword. Because against something like the Billhook, which he's currently using, it can be very, very effective, the Greatsword. I've got this beautiful free skin. I'm going to see if I can rectify him. Ooh. Now, the Greatsword is meant to be used as either a very heavy dragging weapon or a very slow drag. Whoa! Shit! Oh, fuck. Got him. There we go. So, like I said, don't be afraid to switch. Don't be afraid to adapt. He was using a quick weapon, the Billhook. Not very long range, very, very quick, lends itself to accelerates. I switched to a very versatile weapon, the Greatsword. It can be accelerated or dragged. Let's see if I can double the passage. And yep, it looks like bada bing, bada boom, 1, 2, 3 punch with the Greatsword. Very good fight, Eternal Dankman. And I won just there. Wow, didn't actually expect to. So yeah, that's dueling in a nutshell. Let's take a look at what these guys are doing. We can see Bill Belichick. He was wrecking me the game before this one. I'm glad I didn't have to fight him. He certainly knows his way around the longsword and the knight. His playstyle I would very much describe as unnerring, unstoppable. His drive and the way he pushes his opponents doesn't cease. Ceaseless. Let's go with that. It's pretty badass, really. My playstyle I would describe as chipping away. That's why my favorite class and weapon is Man-at-Arms Norse Sword, because I very much like to just chip away at my opponent's resolve. His resolve, his stamina, and finally his health. So one way or another, I'm going to be kind of chipping away at my enemy. And of course, no one has a very set in stone playstyle, so to speak. That's not how it works. Your playstyle is very dynamic, very fluid. However, number one rule of dueling, I would say, don't be an archer, or I'll hate you. That's all. I think we're just going to watch a couple more of these duels, and there's really not much more to say, honestly. I'll do a little bit of a summary of what I went over right after. Oh, shit! Bill Belichick there got a little bit cocky from what I could tell. And, you know, he has every right to be. 7-4, he's third on the list. 7-4, he's dealing with some losses. A little bit cocky. And when you get cocky, you can get into this set rhythm of things. As you saw there, he got his head crushed while he was in the course of a rainbow that failed. So you've got to be very careful about getting into this sort of rut where you're doing the same thing over and over and over again. Definition of insanity. Go figure. Anyway, the summary of the various dueling tactics. Basic overview is that you need to know and use the weapon and class you are most comfortable with, the weapon and class you're best with. I kind of associate those two because the weapon I have the most fun with is very different from the ones I'm most comfortable with and I do the best with. I do the best with my Norse, my Messer Knight, and my Halberd Vanguard. I have the most fun with Dub Axe. And yeah, beyond that, don't be afraid to adapt to your opponent's class. As you saw there, I got wrecked with a brandy stock while I was going up against that Norse man-at-arms. I should have switched to a faster weapon. And at the same time, though, be consistent. Know when you're getting tilted. Know when you're thinking, oh, this isn't working, I need to switch. Know when that's your emotions screwing you up, and when that is your opponent screwing you up. So be careful of those things. I think that's going to be the video today. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for watching. I think I'm going to leave you guys with just one last duel with a weapon class combo that I have been playing quite a bit with. Let's see if it works out. Halberd Vanguard is an utterly broken, disgusting class knight setup. And he's running into the balcony section for some reason. I'm not sure why that is. What is he doing? Yes. That's a very interesting way to kind of keep someone going. Alright. Have a kick. Come here. Come here, you. Oh, beautiful. I hit it just a tiny bit. And now let's do one fight with the Maul, because I'm stupid, and I feel like it. The Maul is generally not a good choice against anyone, unless you're very, very good with it. I am not very, very good with it. I'm mediocre with it. Let's see how it works. Mostly because I try for insta-kills far too often. Oh, he faints. Can you not, bruv? No. Oh, he's out of stamina. Yes! Yes! It worked, everyone. It worked. Thank you guys for watching. As always, have a grand day, and I shall see you, fine people, next time. Kind people. Next time. You're fine, too.